Hello, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's keeping warm. The winters in Lahore are just kind of crazy this year, at least. It feels that way to me. Um, so I'm here today to talk about artificial intelligence in general, and then more specifically, how we can, or how we've been trying to integrate AI into the field of email marketing. Now, you'll catch me doing this a lot because we have to move through the slides rapidly. Could you please go to the next slide? Mailmunch is an email marketing software product where we build tools to support small businesses to do their best when it comes to email marketing. That's what our goal is as a product. And we've been in the market for a little over 7-8 years now, and we promise that we have a 360-degree toolkit that enables you to cover all of the bases when it comes to any solid email marketing strategy. Next, please. My name is Ameeq. I felt the need to put it up there because it's a different name. People usually get it wrong. My background is I am a marketer. I come from a background of marketing and then a background of product management. As a marketer, I've worked with leading fashion retail brands and food brands for 5 or 6 years in this city. And I was responsible for running all of their digital marketing campaigns, which included email marketing as well. And as a product manager, I've had the privilege to actually come and witness the other side of this table as well. So where first, as a marketer, I was the consumer of technologies and products like Mailmunch, as a product manager, I've had the opportunity to build these tools myself and really bring my experience as a marketer into the field of email marketing. So before we build the case for AI in email marketing, I would just like to spend a minute and build the case for email marketing in general, right? Why is email marketing even important? Could you go to the next slide, please? So the very first thing when it comes to email marketing is emails, the channel in general, is one of the most important owned channels when it comes to your marketing repertoire. So what that means is this is one of the only channels that you truly own the audience on. You may have 100,000 likes on Facebook or 1 million followers on Instagram, but those are people that you cannot truly associate with. You never actually truly know them. But your email list contains a list of people that you have direct access to straight into their inboxes. Secondly, emails are very, very flexible. So you can do anything from plain emails to highly designed, intricate emails with images, with text, and with layouts and fonts and everything. But also, when it comes to your audience, since this is an owned audience and you know them really in depth and how they're engaging with your brand and your marketing in general, you can also truly segment your audience and send them personalized messages, which makes this the most flexible channel, which you can't really achieve with social media or Google Ads and everything. But then most importantly is the return on investment that you can get with email marketing. If we look at the numbers and we compare the kind of revenue that you can expect for every dollar that you put into your marketing channels, the most popular ones are, let's start with social media. On average, what you can expect is that for every dollar that you put into your social media campaigns or your ad spend, you can expect to get about $4 out of it. So you spend $1, you make $4. When it comes to Google Ads, you spend $1 and on average you make just about $2, right? And then the return for SEO and content marketing is such a long process that you can't really measure the results anyway. But when it comes to email marketing, even research as recent as 2022 shows that the email marketing channel can make you $36 for every dollar that you spend here. This is because, one, this is an audience that has willingly let you in, given you permission to talk to them. And secondly, the costs that are associated with email marketing are still very, very low, which allows this to be actually the channel by far which gives you the best return on what you're spending. So when we talk about the benefits of AI, even if not in email marketing, but just the benefits in general, we say, oh, AI increases the level of personalization that you can offer. Or a very generic one is it increases the efficiency with which you can perform your day-to-day tasks or what you're trying to achieve. And then it offers improved engagement. And that's what we went in thinking as well. But then when we actually start applying AI, how do we actually truly achieve all of this, right? Because when we look at AI, what we're essentially talking about is LLMs, or what's known as large language models, right? And what LLMs do, or what they're best for, is writing text and just writing copy, right? So ultimately, the output that you get for whatever you do is just text. So you can talk to ChatGPT, or you can use tools like Jasper and all, but essentially, what are they going to do? They're going to write blog posts for you, they're going to write emails for you, or they're going to do research for you, but ultimately they're going to give you some kind of text as output. But then what we wanted to do was really look at AI and see how we can really truly add value for our users. So what we did was we broke the entire process of email marketing down into its core building blocks. And then we wanted to see how we can actually contribute truly with the power of AI to make each of these steps better for our users. Now, our users, remember, are small business owners who are no experts in digital marketing, so they need as much hand-holding as possible, one. But secondly, also, they're small business owners, which means they're running their businesses and they're learning the ropes on that end as well. So they need support wherever we can give them in terms of efficiency and driving better results. So the very first thing we thought of was, okay, let's do a chat assistant, right? Let's build an assistant inside of our app that knows everything that there is to know about email marketing, and it can answer any of our users' questions. That's the very first thing that we came up with, right? It was our bright idea. But then we launched it, and we saw people use it for a couple of times. And then the usage kind of just dropped off. And we were wondering why, because it's an assistant that answers any questions that you may have about email marketing, which means it can help you wherever you need that help. But then we realized we're talking about people who probably don't know the first thing about email marketing. Can we even expect them to know what the right questions are to ask a chat assistant? Where do they even start from, right? So then we thought, how do we truly add more value to this? How do we add value to the email strategy part of this, right? So we said, okay, let's actually help these guys, these business owners, build an email strategy from scratch, so that even if they don't know anything about email marketing at all, it's always been our mantra to make emails as simple as possible. So what we did was we built a strategy builder. What it does is it asks you what industry you're coming from, what the scale of your business is, do you have an audience to send emails to, or do you not? And it asks you all of these core questions, and then it creates an entire email marketing strategy for you. But then it doesn't just spit out an email marketing strategy document, but based on that document and based on what we're recommending that you do, it also builds all of those campaigns for you. So if you want to build an email list, it's going to build an opt-in form for you. It's going to build those welcome emails, the broadcast, the automation, and everything that you need. Put them as drafts in your site so that you can literally just go in, activate them, and you're set. So that whole learning curve of email marketing and building a list that usually would have taken you probably a month or two to learn and then execute on your own, you could now get it done in 1 or 2 sittings at the most. So that's how we thought we could add true value when it came to the email strategy part. So the next thing is once you've built a strategy and now you've kicked off and now you're starting to get email addresses on your list, the next step is usually now you want to manage that list, right? You want to keep that list clean. You want to make sure that the people on that list stay engaged and everything. So we thought, okay, let's see how AI can help us manage these lists, right? So it's pretty simple when you want to say, okay, remove the contacts from my list that have no engagement, right? So that's easy. People who have never opened an email, make a segment, just delete them or archive them. That's simple enough. But what if we're talking about people with low engagement? What do we do with those contacts? Because low engagement then has no fixed definition, right? It fluctuates based on the business that you're running, based on how many emails you're sending, based on the industry that you're in. So how do we define low engagement? And that's where AI comes in. It enables us to automatically understand based on the business's life cycle, based on the size of the audience list, based on how frequently those emails are being sent out. We can automatically create segments for you based on AI that you can then use to either retarget or archive or whatever you would like to do with those contacts. And then I mentioned segments. Segments is a way to automatically create groups in your audience based on some kind of common characteristics, right? But creating a segment can be daunting for people who are just beginning, because a segment is just a configuration of different filters, right? Let's say you want to create a segment for open recently. You'll have to go in, you'll have to figure out which filter I need, and then say, okay, open in less than 30 days or open in more than 60 days, and then figure out those filters and then apply them. So it's a cumbersome process. Every filter might need a different configuration of filters. So we thought, how can we make this easier for our users? And of course, we had to apply artificial intelligence to this. So now what we've been able to achieve is that using just natural language, we can literally just fulfill the wish that our users have. So for example, you want to create a segment that says, okay, a customer who did not open any emails in the last 90 days. But instead of having to go through all the filters, mess about them, choose the operators, enter the input values and everything, and set up that segment by yourself, which might take you 5 or 6 minutes to actually completely execute and understand, all you have to do is you have to enter this command, and using artificial intelligence, we process that natural language and automatically convert it into a live segment for you. So what would have normally taken you 5, 6, 7 minutes now gets handled in less than 30 seconds. But then we thought, how can we make this even better? How do we improve on this? Because the question again comes, yes, it's very easy to create segments, but then how does a user know which segments they want to actually create, right? So we know what type of business they're in, we know the industry that they're in, and we know what kind of segments would work best for them. So we thought, instead of them having to think of the segments and what they need to create and how they need to divide their email list, we thought we would recommend segments for them to get them the best possible value out of the emails that they're running. And now we come to the best part, which is the actual email, the content that's going to go inside of that email, right? And this is where LLMs shine. This is their direct domain where you ask them to write something and they're aces at it. They're brilliant at it, right? So this is the first thing that we did. We said, okay, what we need to do is we need to make sure that the people who are writing these emails, the English in the email needs to be top notch. So you write whatever you want, and then you can use our AI to fix it dramatically, to improve the writing, to change the tone if you want to make it formal, if you want to make it friendly based on what kind of language your audience is used to, or your brand voice. And then we'll automatically rewrite the text that you already have in your email. So that's the first implementation that we did. And then we thought, okay, what's next? Now we've written the email. Now let's look at the subject line, right? This personally was somehow is very exciting for me. I've never been a fan of writing subject lines. I get a writer's block whenever I try to write one. So I thought, let's do this. So as soon as the user tries to write a subject line, we open this prompt. We say, okay, just tell us about what you're doing in this email. Tell us about the email that you just designed, and we will. And then pick a tone. You can say it needs to be friendly or formal or excited or casual or whatever. And then just say generate, and we'll give you 5 options of subject lines, right? So we did this, and we launched this, and we saw some amazing results with this, right? So what we saw was out of 100 people who actually ask us to create subject lines, we saw that 80% of them, 80 users, are actually using one of those subject lines as well. So we thought, okay, great. Artificial intelligence obviously is good at writing, so it's writing good subject lines, right? So an 80% success rate is brilliant. As a product manager, it was like a gold star for me. But then we look at the funnel, and we just looked at the funnel just one step back, right? And we realized that those numbers actually are not very promising, because it turned out that out of 100 people that actually click on that subject line box and see this, only 10 people actually opt to write a subject line using AI, and the rest are just doing it by themselves. And we thought this was probably a very important problem that we're solving. And apparently we're doing a good job at it. Out of 10 people, 8 people like what we do. But why are out of 100 people, only 10 people opting to even try this? And that automatically meant that we're not really adding true value to this process. So we thought, how can we make this better, right? So we expanded on the idea. And the very first thing we thought was, okay, in the first iteration, we were asking them to tell us what that email is about, which is kind of redundant. They just created that email in the last step. We know what's in the email. Why ask the user for that input again when we can use AI to just automatically create a summary of what they've done, right? So the first thing we did was we added an auto-summarize feature, right? And then we additionally, instead of just subject lines, we thought we'll also add pre-header text. Pre-header text is that small line of text that you see in the notifications, just under the subject line. And then we said, we'll make this bigger, and we'll generate, and it'll give us options, and then just a nifty little bow that we'll show a preview of what that looks like as well, right? And this sent our usage up, but not by a huge margin, because it still doesn't add true value. It writes a subject line, so what normally would have taken maybe 3 minutes can now be done in maybe 40 seconds, 50 seconds. It doesn't really add a lot of value. So we thought, how can we make this even better? And then this is what we came up with. We make this better by making the output of that system better. We make it better by having it learn from its own successes and learn from its own failures. So we know the emails, we know the subject lines that are going out. We use that data, so we see that subject line A had an open rate of 20%, subject line B had an open rate of 60%. That automatically means that A and B are not created equal, right? So we use AI to pick up on those nuances of what's better with subject line B. We use that to train the data for this particular user, not even on a global level, but just for this particular user, so that every time they write a new subject line using AI and send an email, it improves the overall system. And with every email that they send, they're going to get better and better and better results in terms of performance, which directly impacts their business. And then this is what adds true value for the user, right? And then, like I said, we did the whole email writing thing, and it was great. But then we thought, how do we improve upon this? How can we make this better? How can we make the process of creating emails easier and better, right? So again, we applied AI to the entire process. We built a wizard that asks you what your goals are, what kind of audience you're reaching out to, what product or services it is that you're selling. And then it doesn't just write the copy of your email. It designs the entire email, complete with the images, with the layout, the columns, the headers, the fonts, everything. And then it delivers that layout to you in a completely editable, customizable builder view. So that what we deliver can then again be modified based on whatever your requirements are. But the email building process, which may take an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, is now cut down to 2, 3, 4 minutes even to get started. So now this is what truly adds a lot of value for our users. So the entire purpose of this is to stop thinking about LLMs as just engines for writing text, but more as tools where you can use your creativity to really see how you can improve the lives and the businesses and the outcomes for people. And then lastly is automations. Automations have always been the bane of not just digital marketing, but anybody who's doing email marketing in general. Automations essentially is a way for you to personalize emails and user journeys based on every individual customer and their behavior and everything. Automations generally look like something like this. So a very simple flow where you're saying, okay, a contact comes into my list, I send him an email, and then I just want to check if they open an email. If they do open an email, do this. If they don't open an email, send a follow-up email. Just to achieve this simple flow, any kind of automation tool out there is going to have you construct this flow chart and understand all the conditions and everything that goes into this, which has a learning curve, not just for the tool, but also for the metrics and everything that measure how a customer or a user is interacting with your website or your emails and just their behavioral data, right? So again, very briefly, what we did with automations as well was built, again, a wish-based UI where all you have to do is you just give us a string or give us a sentence, natural language, just tell us what you're trying to do, right? So for example, all you want to do is you want to create an abandoned cart email flow, which means people who are adding products to their carts and then not completing their purchase, you just want to retarget them. Or you want to reward your high-value customers. All you have to do is you just write that sentence, and then we, with the help of AI, will automatically process it and create an entire automation based on your instructions and give it to you, where you can then customize it to your liking. But again, the process that would normally have taken a couple of hours can now be done in just a couple of minutes, complete with the email content and the conditions and everything, really, right? And then To make it even better, what we did was, like with all of our other applications, instead of assuming that our users know what they want to do and know the journeys that they want to create, we used AI to understand what state, what level, what scale of business they're on, and then automatically suggest those AI journeys to them for that would kind of fit their marketing goals based on the stage of business that they're in. So that was just a kind of a brief overview of the journey that we've been on as a product incorporating AI, learning how we can use the power of artificial intelligence to do more than just everyday tasks. And I would encourage everybody to think beyond just chat GPT and think beyond just writing blog posts and essays using artificial intelligence. Because if we just scratch the surface and go just a little bit deeper, the field of artificial intelligence and the power of large language models can actually enable us and all of you to do really, really amazing things. We, of course, realize that we're, even at Mailmunch, we're just starting to scratch the surface of things. So that was everything from my side. Thank you very much.